My name is Randy Barron. I'm a senior master captain in command of a towboat, pushes barges up and down the river right here. Beautiful and scenic Joliet is my home. 32 years of maritime service by choice, 50 years an American by the grace of God. 1 year ago today, I stood right here in this plaza and warned of the storm clouds that have been gathering for at least the past 80 years. Well, folks, the heavy downpour is upon us right now. Our representative republic, for the first time in its history, is on the verge of de facto insolvency. Our individual liberties are coming under attack one by one, not the least of which is our right to and control of our private property. Our money and our wealth, which is a physical representation of our efforts, is under heavy burden, and it's only going to get worse. The nation is being forcefully, unconstitutionally, and methodically altered right before our eyes at the hands of our own leaders. Our heritage is being ignored, our principles mocked, our Constitution is considered an impediment to progress. Our leaders are corrupt and exhibit regal indifference. The Fifth Estate has failed us. We're facing core sovereignty and national viability issues here, not ivory tower discussions about how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. As my paternal grandfather said it wisely and simply, son, if you want to get out of a hole, quit digging and put the shovel down. Well, that was my message a year ago, and as you all know, unfortunately, most of these observations still stand. However, something wonderful has happened since then. We have become motivated and educated. We have found our voice, and we have found each other. And as distasteful as it may be, we've become politically savvy. Our republic has always required an enlightened, impassioned, and engaged citizenry, and we once again are providing that for Washington. It was unexpected and for some unwanted and threatening. Tough. Give yourself a big round of applause. I have people ask me, well, what is all this about? I say quite simply, we're not anti-government, but for government which is limited to the specific enumerated powers listed in the Constitution. We're not anti-tax, as some would have you believe, but rather for taxation which is for specific and legitimate national defense and public work purposes which benefit all, not just favored voting groups. I call to an end for a behavior modification through the tax code. Social engineering is God's work, Bubba, not government. I call on our leaders to realize that the private sector is more than just a source from which to extract tribute. And all the while, these knuckleheads are telling us that the free market has failed us. When I argue that through the unintended consequences of ignorant meddling and stifling regulations, we haven't experienced a freely functioning marketplace in decades or even in my lifetime. Liberate us. Liberate us now. Cease stretching the general welfare or so-called elastic clause of Article 1, Section 8 to justify dependence and wealth redistribution. It is an intentional twisting of the term general welfare which serves only ideological ends and ensures continued power and control. Fine sirs and ladies of Washington, you are sucking the very lifeblood out of our nation. And while I'm at it, when do student loans have a dadgum thing to do with health care? A major part of integrity is doing what you say you're doing and being transparent as you're doing it. Don't bury substantial structure-changing legislation in the middle of a bill when the two things don't have anything to do with one another. Dude, we'll find it and we won't be happy when we do. You're not clever, you're insulting. Whatever the question is, I default to more liberty, not less. We have been effectively reduced to political constituencies through barter, bribery, and promises of ease and utopia. We have been convinced that wealth envy, class warfare, liberation theology, and entitlement based on false rights are justification for public policy. Again, I say stop. That's not America. Now, we have many challenges before us. A consumption tax or value-added tax on top of and in addition to the income tax is looming. Immigration reform, weakening our sovereignty, will soon be on the table. The Bush tax rollbacks will expire soon. And don't forget, cap and tax cannot move in the Senate. All of these measures are designed to steal yet more of your private property and liberty to finance a cradle-to-grave nirvana, which by its own definition and cumbersome nature can never come to fruition. Folks, victory in November is hardly assured. I encourage everyone here to redouble your efforts, talk to your neighbors, family, and friends, and drag them to the polls. Get up, cross the room, befriend, engage, inform, and involve. Become active in local races or run for office yourself. Sign petitions, get you solid conservative candidates on the ballot, and then work for victory. Talk with your children and grandchildren. Instill your values and wisdom in them, and know that you are the teacher of the first and foremost magnitude. Trust me, they're hearing something quite different in school. Just as I concluded 1 year ago today, I absolutely refuse in the coming years to be forced to explain to my 6 grandchildren what it was once like in this great nation when liberty, prudence, fiscal responsibility, and personal integrity guided our leaders, when the government ruled by the Constitution instead of devising Rube Goldberg-type schemes to circumvent it, and when, by the grace and gifts of a loving God, the individual was sovereign. What say you, Will County? What say you?